thanks to my fieldwork in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Whether you're directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
Thanks to my fieldwork in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Whether you're directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
Thanks to my fieldwork in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Whether you're directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
to my fieldwork in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Whether you're directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
fieldwork in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Whether you're directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
Thanks to my fieldwork in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Whether you're directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
my fieldwork in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Good evening. I am Courtney Doggart, the president of Network 2020. Welcome to the 2021 Innovators Awards in Global Affairs and Benefit. Before we begin, I would like to express my sincerest thank you to everyone who has been supporting our efforts. And I would especially like to recognize our top sponsors, our global innovators, BNP Paribas USA, the May Family Foundation, and Anastasia Vornas. And I would also like to thank the many people who make our work possible. Network 2020's phenomenal board of directors and advisory council, and to our small yet extremely dedicated staff of Philip Sausage, Brian Tong, and Natalie Mace, as well as our volunteer senior program advisor, Joanna Voschowski. None of this is possible without you. And yes, we are still bringing you our annual auction. This year it is online, and you can view and bid on some exciting lots, from a stay in a cottage at the foot of the legendary Dracula Castle in Transylvania to an awesome ski trip out west. Our auction will remain open until Wednesday, March 31st. Tonight's benefit is a milestone moment in Network 2020's ongoing campaign, The Next Chapter, which was created to expand and deepen Network 2020's programs, memberships, sponsorships, visibility, and fundraising within the community of people who care about smart, sound, and informed foreign policy and international relations. It is not hyperbole to say that our world is in crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted our interconnectedness as well as our divisions. Vaccine distribution is but one example of how the theories underlying international relations, realism, internationalism, and even soft power are shaping our everyday lives. And we are facing decision points not just in global health, but in climate change and in how we write the rules of the road for the use of new technologies. And our approach to these global challenges requires working with both allies as well as adversaries who may have a very different view about the balance between individual liberties and security, how economies should be developed and regulated, and where national self-interest collides with international norms. Simultaneously, we need the expertise, and I emphasize expertise, to navigate issues like cyber, climate change, and the digital economy. At its most basic, foreign policy are the objectives and rules that define a country's interactions with another. But in this rich and complex world we humans have developed, it is impossible to separate foreign policy from economics, the environment, health, and even domestic opinion. We need innovative input from all sectors of society, and we need our leaders of all stripes, those in government and business, as well as those in classrooms and nonprofits, to understand in more than just a superficial way how negotiations between countries and the faraway events in other nations impact whether they will be able to sell their goods, get a job in a global market, or have to prepare for war. This is where Network 2020 comes in. Our programs embrace the non-foreign policy professional to create a community of curious individuals who care about the world and want to connect that to their professional expertise. Our virtual briefing series is our programmatic gateway. It has allowed over 4,000 people in over 90 countries in this last year alone to hear from and ask questions of leading foreign policy practitioners and thinkers, from people like Richard Haas to Kishore Mahbubani, Joseph Nye to Michelle Bachelet. We have retained also the critical face-to-face community that we have created, but virtually. And we are going further and deeper in our understanding of critical problems, such as the US-China relationship, through our Deep Dive program. Our BOLD Fellowship, supported by the US Embassy in Sarajevo, is thriving. We are training some of the brightest, most enterprising university-age students in Bosnia and Herzegovina so that they can hone their skills to develop the businesses and organizations that their country needs for economic stability and security. And I am very pleased to announce tonight that Network 2020's signature entrepreneurial diplomacy program will sharpen its focus on post-conflict and transitioning countries in the critical pillar of economic opportunity. For the next 2 years, we will be focusing on Tunisia. In just over a year's time, we will bring a carefully selected group to that country to meet the leaders and entrepreneurs and find ways that the U.S. private sector can help smooth their path forward. By all measures, this has been a very interesting and productive year for Network 2020. We have made many new international friends, some of whom you will hear messages from tonight, who are hungry for meaningful dialogue. And one of those new friends is tonight's evening program host, Ayman Moileddin. Since joining NBC News, Ayman has reported from Egypt, Libya, Syria, Jordan, Turkey, Israel, Gaza, Lebanon, Japan, Europe, and the United States. And now, as anchor of MSNBC Live with Ayman Moileddin on weekday afternoons, he is one of the first Arab Americans to anchor a news show on a major U.S. cable network. Previously, he was based in the Middle East with NBC News and Al Jazeera English, where his coverage of the Egyptian Revolution and the fall of the Mubarak regime was recognized and praised for its distinction around the world. He has received many awards and nominations for his outstanding work around the globe. Welcome, Ayman.
Thank you, Courtney. As tonight's host, I have the incredible honor of presenting several awards which recognize outstanding global leaders. And I am excited to witness how Network 2020 has adapted and pivoted its global foreign policy agenda in the face of this challenging pandemic period. This is all very meaningful to me because on our daily show, we try to tackle some of the most pressing foreign policy issues. And the one thing I have learned from my travels and countless interviews is that the best chance that we have at success in solving these problems, whether it's climate change or even the current immigration crisis that we see at the border, the best chance we have will be when we see more of our society involved. That means both government and private sector resources are committed, and all of that begins with a more informed citizenry. So now on to presenting tonight's awards in recognition of superior global leadership. From corporate diversity and sustainable efforts, superior reporting and writing, to thinking creatively about how to use technology to tackle the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Each awardee is committed to work that addresses the need for global communication and cooperation. First, I am honored to introduce the 2021 Ted Sorensen Award, carrying the name of the revered author of Ask Not What Your Country Can Do For You, but What You Can Do For Your Country. The Ted Sorensen Award is presented to an emerging leader who exemplifies the values of Ted Sorensen and Network 2020, passion for sound global engagement, dedication to the public good, and the ability to put words to one's aims. Network 2020 is presenting this award to an outstanding global awardee who follows in Ted Sorensen's footsteps, CNN's chief international correspondent and author of On All Fronts, The Education of a Journalist, Clarissa Ward. Now, Clarissa has dedicated her professional life to illuminating the world's atrocities with honesty and fairness. I know this because before I became an anchor, I was a foreign correspondent, and I would see the incredible work Clarissa did up close in many of the same hot zones. She gave us a dark glimpse into the world of Russian politics when her exclusive coverage unveiled the poisoning of the country's leading opposition figure, Alexei Navalny. And in her recent book, she takes us along in her back pocket as she travels the globe, covering the trouble spots that affect the world's stability. Here is a bit more. Watch.
I now give the floor to Clarissa Ward, CNN international correspondent.
Thank you so much. I've been a war correspondent for more than 10 years in every terrible conflict that you can think of, but I have never seen anything on the scale like this. This is happening right here, right now. Life is dangerous. There are snipers all around. Is that what they want?
This is something we have to do.
This is one of the most unique environments on Earth.
How many hours have you been on the boat?
It's a humanitarian crisis growing by the day. You've got to do justice to the story. How has your life been affected? I won't say you ever really make peace with it, but you can bear witness. There are very little signs of normal human life. You can't not feel some level of personal impact. Clarissa Ward, CNN, London.
To present this award, I am honored to introduce Gillian Sorensen. As talented and committed as her husband, Gillian understands the critical importance of inclusive international affairs. She had a long and impressive career at the United Nations and was one of its most eloquent and active defenders. She served as Assistant Secretary General for External Relations, working on outreach to civil society, religious groups, academics, politicians, and friends and critics of the United Nations. She also serves on the board of the International Rescue Committee. Gillian?
I am very honored that Network 2020 continues to present the Ted Sorensen Award for Journalism Excellence. My late husband, Ted, was impressed by the work of Network 2020 and attended many of your meetings. Ted was trained as a lawyer, but best known as speechwriter and then special counsel to President John F. Kennedy in the White House. Ted deeply believed in the power of words, not just to inform, but to enlighten, to unify, and to inspire. By contrast, words that lie, demean, debase, or destroy do lasting damage to human relations, to relations among nations, and to our democracy itself. Ted would have greatly respected Clarissa Ward's eloquence and clarity and determination to go to the source, to write with honesty, shining light on dark places, and speaking truth to power. He surely would have been proud of Clarissa's skill at conveying facts and helping people understand complex realities at home and abroad. And he most definitely would have admired her courage and readiness to go to the front lines, to travel to the Middle East, to Russia, China, Lebanon, and elsewhere, and to interview all kinds of people, from presidents and prime ministers, to dictators and autocrats, to ordinary people, to get her stories. Her work at ABC, CBS, and now CNN, plus her remarkable new book, which is just out, On All Fronts, testify to her dedication to far-reaching journalism. I join with many others to say thank you, Clarissa, and every good wish for your continued leadership and writing. I'm honored to present to you the Ted Sorensen Award.
Hello, and thank you so much to everyone at Network 2020 for this extraordinary honor. Really, Anne May, Joan Morgan, Courtney Doggard, Lisa Shields. I'm so humbled and so thrilled to be accepting this award and to be accepting it from Gillian Sorensen. I can't explain what that means to me, really, Gillian. I'm almost just so sad, though, that we're not able to do this in person. But thank you so much for this. It means the world to me. It goes without saying that your late husband left an indelible mark on our country, and it really is humbling to be accepting an award in his name. Ted Sorensen was many things. He was a beautiful writer. He was a great counselor. But the thing of all of his gifts and skills that really resonates with me on a personal level was his extraordinary ability to communicate with people. He knew exactly the right phrase to say that would inspire people, or exactly the appropriate tone to adapt to put them at ease. And I'll never forget learning about this incredible letter that he drafted for President Kennedy to then leader of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, which actually precipitated the end of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And I guess when I'm thinking about my own work in a much smaller way, I think that one of the most important elements of that is being a communicator. It's going beyond borders, beyond boundaries, transcending politics, religion, race, whatever divides us, and essentially going to the ends of the earth to try to listen and understand people's stories and translate them back to an audience at home so that they can unpack and understand them. And hopefully, in the process of that, somehow I'm also bringing the stories and the ideals that we hold so dearly at home and translating them to an audience across the world. And so I think in some ways, the job of a journalist is not that different from the job of a diplomat. And what's so cool and exciting and frankly amazing about the time that we're living in now is that we have this extraordinary technology whereby all of us can be participating in this. We can all be diplomats in a sense. We can all be communicators. And one of the things I think that is so tremendously exciting and important about what Network 2020 is doing is essentially encouraging people to be curious, to look outwards, to engage with the world, to care about the world. And that's such a fundamentally important thing, especially in this moment where we see the US kind of turning its back on the world more and more and adopting a more sort of introverted pose. So anyway, I just want to say again, thank you so much for this wonderful honor. Thank you so much to Network 2020 for the work that you're doing. And let us all continue to look outwards and engage with the world. Thank you.
Congratulations, Clarissa. In 2019, Network 2020 and the Young Professionals in Foreign Policy launched the Innovators Award in Global Affairs to recognize up-and-coming organizations taking creative approaches to tackling challenges that have an impact on foreign affairs. Solving the challenges that are best captured by the UN's Sustainable Development Goals requires thinking across sectors, taking the tools of technology, and thinking anew about how we can move towards that future. A future where nations can devote fewer resources to addressing climate change, poverty, or humanitarian crises because they have been alleviated by society's innovators. Our first awardee is Hala Systems. It was created to mitigate the civilian casualties in Syria that Clarissa so bravely covered. Their technology is now being used as an early warning system in Ukraine and the Democratic Republic of Congo to gain critical conflict awareness and save lives. Watch.
أصوات الانفجارات تطارد أحلامي.
For a decade, Syrians have lived under near constant threat of violence. This year, the UN's Independent International Commission of Inquiry documented 52 attacks against hospitals, schools, and markets in Idlib between November 2019 and June 2020. HALA Systems supports communities with tools to protect themselves. HALA's team of scientists, engineers, and activists work alongside community members to design early warning tools that put life-saving information directly into the hands of the people who need it most. At its core, HALA Systems connects communities. HALA will continue to adapt the early warning system for threats beyond airstrikes to protect people, provide hope, and pursue a better tomorrow.
I am honored to present the 2021 Innovators Award in Global Affairs for Security and Defense to HALA CEO and founder John Yeager, one of the founders of HALA Systems. John?
I'm John Yeager, CEO and co-founder of HALA Systems. It is a distinct privilege to be recognized as an innovator in global affairs by Network 2020. HALA is a social enterprise whose mission is to develop data-driven technology to help protect civilians from both man-made and natural disasters. We've worked for the last half-decade to try and bridge the gap between technical innovation and the challenges facing us around the world. I accept this award on behalf of all of my colleagues who've put forth an extraordinary effort for the last 5 years to try and protect everything that matters. Thank you very much.
Congratulations and thank you to the team at HALA Systems for developing this life-saving technology. Our second awardee is Gooder, an Atlanta-based nonprofit that is using technology to simultaneously feed the hungry and reduce organic landfill waste.
Every night, over 54 million Americans go to bed hungry. Yet every year, over 72 billion pounds of surplus food end up in our landfills. Since much of this food could have been donated, businesses are throwing away $40 billion in tax savings. So we realized, hunger is not an issue of scarcity. It's a matter of logistics. And with our help, you can do more than good. Gooder enables your business to save money, feed more, and waste less. Just use our app to request a pickup, and our food rescue team will reroute your surplus food to those in need. In real time, our technology converts your good deeds into real business impact. You'll see all of the savings with none of the liability. Because when we feed people instead of landfills, everybody wins. See how your business can do well by doing good.
It is my honor to present the second Innovators Awards in Global Affairs for Humanitarian Aid to Jasmine Crow, CEO at Gooder.
I want to send a huge thank you to Network 2020 for the 2021 Global Affairs and Innovator Award. We're extremely excited to receive this honor here at Gooder in Atlanta, Georgia, where we work hard every single day, bridging the gap for so many families who often have to make a critical decision, choosing between bills and paying for food. We're leveraging technology to combat hunger and food waste, and this award means a lot to us. I want to thank you guys so much for honoring us, and I say that amongst us and all of our nearly 50 team members. Thank you from Gooder.
Congratulations to everyone on the team at Gooder. And last but not least, we are presenting our third Innovators Award in Global Affairs for Financial Inclusion tonight to Kaleidofin, a company that in India is addressing poverty through tech-based saving solutions. What makes their approach to financial inclusion unique is that they are also including critical and tailored insurance for their users to ensure that they have a cushion against previously devastating life events that could wipe out savings.
Our first partnership was with Seva Bank. Seva Bank is an urban cooperative bank with 600,000 plus customers. These customers are all in the informal sector. They typically have access to feature phones and really don't have access to any goal-linked financial solutions. That's what we offer to Seva Bank. Financial services have been around for a long time. Product manufacturers, credit, loans, insurance, mutual funds, all these products have been around for a long time. But how do these products combine together to become a coherent solution that really helps a customer send their daughter to college? You not only need to be saving regularly, you also need protection against what could happen to you. So you don't just need regular investment, you also need insurance. You also need a liquidity line because you're working in the informal sector and you don't get a monthly paycheck. Insurance as well as a liquidity line all put together, and this is now the new solution. This is the Kaleidofin solution.
It is my pleasure to present the third Innovators Award in Global Affairs to Kaleidofin's co-founders, Sucharita Mukherjee and Puneet Gupta.
Hi, I'm Puneet. I'm one of the co-founders at Kaleidofin Private Limited, and it is today my honor and privilege to accept this award on behalf of Kaleidofin and all its employees who have put in a lot of hard work in translating our vision into reality. Kaleidofin is a neobank that is based in India and works with informal sector customers to help them realize their real goals in life by offering them tailored and intuitive financial services. We would like to thank the organizers, Network 2020, and their sponsors for selecting us as one of the 3 winners of the Innovators Awards in Global Affairs. It is exciting to have our work to be recognized at this level and being recognized as the one that is capable of making transformative changes to financial inclusion and international affairs. It is exactly this kind of recognition that keeps us going. Thank you again.
Congratulations to Hala Systems, Gooder, and the team at Kaleidofin. And now, this evening's last, but by no means the least, internationally respected honor, the 2021 Global Leadership Award. This award is only presented to an international leader who is committed to fostering U.S. engagement overseas, presenting entrepreneurial approaches to global challenges, innovating in his or her area of expertise, participating in transnational efforts to enhance global peace and prosperity, and mentoring the next generation. Tonight, we confer this award on Network 2020's longtime partner, BNP Paribas America. This award is being accepted by Jean-Yves Fillon, CEO, BNP Paribas America. Let's learn a bit more about BNP and Jean-Yves' international commitment to many of the most current and pressing crises and challenges around the world.
BNP Paribas Group is a leading global bank, present in 71 countries, committed to 33 million customers, and with more than 200,000 employees. As a multi-billion-dollar platform, BNP Paribas offers a range of banking, investment, and protection services, commercial and institutional banking, and retail banking. In the U.S., the bank's second largest market, we serve, together with Bank of the West, nearly 2 million clients through 14,000 team members located in close to 30 states. As the bank for a changing world, BNP Paribas recognizes that change can be challenging. And we've met the challenge of climate change head on, accelerating our clients' sustainability ambitions to a lower carbon economy through forward-looking financing and investing solutions. But we know change requires more than financial leadership. It means changing the culture by leading through example and through policy. And when unexpected challenges emerge, we adapt and find ways to serve our clients, our community, and our colleagues. We injected much-needed capital and liquidity into the system, keeping businesses afloat. And through Bank of the West, we processed 18,000 PPP applications totaling some $3 billion, protecting close to 300,000 jobs. And we protected something far more important. Globally, we donated over $60 million and 6 million masks to support hospital and frontline workers. While some changes are environmental and economic, others are social, political, and deeply personal. BNP Paribas has taken a firm stand on social justice, equality in the world and the workplace, and offers support and allyship to these crucial movements of change. By facing these challenges, BNP Paribas has demonstrated that making powerful change in the world can yield positive results for clients and global partners. Like Network 2020, we strive to promote sustainability, inclusion, and improved outcomes for our clients and our communities. Our success is not in spite of our philanthropic efforts, it is because of them. Leading this charge in the U.S. for nearly 30 years is Jean-Yves Fillon, Chief Executive Officer of BNP Paribas USA and Chairman of Corporate and Institutional Banking for the Americas. Jean-Yves embodies the spirit of BNP Paribas' commitment to being the bank for a changing world and to ensuring that it changes for the better.
What do you think?
If you create a stronger institution, it's all going to benefit the whole industry.
Is it too late to join?
His French is amazingly good. Comment ça va?
We are about to make a very strategic decision here, and I need guidance.
How are you doing today? It's not good. How are you doing today?
This is why he is so deeply honored to receive Network 2020's Global Leadership Award, as it represents success in areas of personal importance to him as well as to BNP Paribas more broadly.
But I believe that if you want to be a high-performing firm, practice, company, this is the only way to get there.
He will accept this award on behalf of BNP Paribas and his 200,000 colleagues around the globe.
It is my privilege to present the 2021 Global Leadership Award to BNP Paribas America and Jean-Yves Fillon.
Thank you, Eamon, for the flattering introduction. Before I proceed, I want to make it clear that I am accepting this great honor on behalf of BNP Paribas. The achievements highlighted in the video and in your introduction are the hard work and commitment of our 200,000 employees across the world and the 14,000 team members based right here in the US. I can't express how excited I am to be receiving this award. I am truly honored to be here tonight. Thank you to Courtney for this great accolade. I would also like to thank Network 2020 Board Chair Anne May and the rest of the Board of Directors as well. And thank you to the esteemed members of our BNP Paribas USA Board of Directors, clients or partners at several firms, my colleagues at the bank, and my daughters for joining this event today. Network 2020 is an organization that I deeply admire as your mission resonates with BNP Paribas' core values and mission. I fondly remember speaking at Network 2020's event that we hosted in 2019 at BNP Paribas Innovation Zone, where I was honored to discuss the view from Europe and had the opportunity to meet so many of your wonderful members and guests who came from all areas of New York City. We're very excited to do more of these events with you in the near future. I want to congratulate you for the work that you all do every day to create, curate, and lead an inclusive international community that bridges the gap between companies, institutions, and the public sector. We are thrilled to have fostered this relationship, enabling an opportunity to broaden our and your circle of influence globally. I would also like to congratulate Clarissa Ward for receiving the Ted Sorensen Award. Clarissa, congratulations. Your commitment and dedication to global engagement, public good, and transparency are unmatched. Your bravery and commitment to shedding light on news and events from around the world are unparalleled. The business I proudly lead is a bank with a global reach, and one of my main tasks is to serve the bank's shareholders. However, today, managing a successful business means engaging all stakeholders to deliver a sustainable future for all. There are no winners in a losing world, and that is why the bank has intentionally positioned its strategy around the UN's Sustainable Development Goals that were launched in September 2015. As we all know, these 17 goals aim to end poverty by 2030 while protecting our planet's environment. The bank's CSR strategy, for which we are being recognized, is focused on four main pillars: the economy, including positive impact investments, ethical business, and strict sector policies; community, focused on product and service accessibility, combating exclusion, and supporting philanthropy; environment, focused on the energy transition of our own footprint and promoting best practices; and last but not least, society, with diversity and inclusion being a good place to work and a learning company being key priorities. We, as the Bank for a Changing World, are committed to this vision. Again, I sincerely thank you for this award, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Congratulations, Jean-Yves, Clarissa, and all of tonight's amazing awardees. Your work is making the world a better place. And thank you to our host, Eamon Moiledin, and presenter, Gillian Sorensen. As we look forward, there is still so much to do. Those of us in the United States are recovering from 4 years of foreign policy decisions that pushed away allies. Building back trust will require effort from more than just the State Department. Sound international relations requires people to show up, to be informed, to ask questions, and to make connections. So please sign up for a briefing, apply for a deep dive, or participate in one of our entrepreneurial diplomacy programs. And you can also help tonight by making an investment in Network 2020's future by texting the word network to 99192. In addition to supporting our work through a donation, here are other ways you can help and stay involved. You can bid on the auction through March 31st. You can become a member and enjoy some of our programming all year long. You can invite a friend to attend one of our free virtual briefings. Or you can subscribe to our social media where you can catch highlights and also full versions of our past programs online and on YouTube. So with that, I want to say thank you everyone for your support tonight and wish you all a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
Directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.
in Ukraine, I was able to co-author the article with the Network 2020 Deputy Director, which highlighted the importance of the private sector investment of Ukraine's IT sector and its positive role it may have in strengthening Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic integration.
Network 2020 bridges the gaps between business people and practitioners by opening their minds and showing them new ways of thinking. That's what we need to make the world more peaceful.
You're directly involved in other countries, whether it's indirect, and just as citizens, I think we all have a benefit from being a member of this extraordinary organization.
Network 2020 was my first experience working with an American company as a social media marketer. This was a great opportunity for me to better perceive and be aware of the different sectors and critical foreign policy challenges.